As long as I was taking those, I accepted the label of I have anxiety, I have depression, I have ADHD. And accepting those labels in your life is you admitting that there's something wrong with you and that you have a problem. And I look at all of the most successful people and the top performers, and they don't limit themselves like that. So if you have a problem, you have a limiting belief because you're not as good as everyone else. Like, if you have ADHD, depression, and anxiety, you are never going to be able to perform at a level that's equal or higher to someone that does not have that and does not give themselves those labels and those restraints, because you're willingly choosing to restrain yourself. So I saw that as being the most detrimental. And also, I worked multiple years in a pharmacy and I learned about the long-term effects of these drugs, and I learned how they worked in the body, and I also learned a lot about the big pharma, which is a topic for another day. I don't want to get into that. But I decided that this, to me, was the one that was the biggest concern. It was the biggest eye-opener. And that was the first thing that I wanted to get rid of. So I decided that I wanted to get rid of that. And then slowly but surely, actually, things started like really looking up with the whole COVID thing. These restrictions were being lifted. And also, because I was moving, so I didn't just stay in my hometown, I actually moved to places that were more in alignment with my views. And then they had restrictions that lifted earlier than if I would have just stayed in my hometown. So changing your environment really does help because it gets rid of all of those triggers, right? Like, if I'm always going here in my house to smoke, or if I'm always going here and like, there's certain triggers that an environment holds, and there's no denying it. So the moment that I started moving and like actually changing who was around me was the moment that I started seeing the most results. And I don't want to like paint this picture as if it was something that was easy, but I want to paint this picture as if it's something that's doable. Because there were multiple times where I'm at a low, like I'm taking L after L after L, I'm in a low frequency vibration, and I'm just like, man, fuck this and fuck the world. Like, I'm so angry right now because I'm trying my best and I'm still failing and I'm taking these L's and I don't want to be taking these L's, but I'm like doing everything that I can. So what more can I do? And it's frustrating sometimes. And then it's in those moments that you're like, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to get drunk because I just don't want to focus on this right now. Or, I just really want to fucking smoke a joint. It was in those times that I knew I was building the most character, when I stuck to my guns and I told myself that I am the type of person that when I make a decision, I stick to it. And even when it gets hard, like, it's actually more enjoyable for me the more difficult that it was. Like, I was going through massive fucking withdrawals, and like, oh my god, guys, it was insane. It was crazy. And I was like, you know what? This is just gonna make me a stronger person, and I'm fully fucking committed to this, because after building my purpose and my mission and my vision for my life and building my dream board, I saw everything that was at stake if I didn't just sacrifice this short-term gratification. Like, it's just escaping. And when I really built this way bigger, goal and dream and thing that I wanted, then these things, really in proportion to that, seemed small. And so, as much as like, yes, there were times that it was extremely hard. Yes, I was going through withdrawals. Yes, I had like massive fucking cravings for, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, though, it was the fact that I decided this and that I didn't break. And that gives you so much fucking confidence and so much like self-reliance, knowing nothing controls me, nothing owns me. I don't have any problems. I am at this level, and that is acceptable for me, but I'm also working to get to this level, and I'm going to do everything within my power, and I'm going to make sure that I focus on what I can control. And I understand that any limits that are trying to be put on me aren't true. And so I'm going to take their power away, because it's either the power is in their hands or mine, and I am not going to ever willingly give the power that I need to achieve what I want in life. I'm never going to give that away to any person, anything, any environment, nothing. Like, nothing gets my power. And I really tried everything before going to the extreme of like picking up all my stuff and moving out of my hometown. I tried everything, and I was just like, I was at a loss. I didn't, like, some people are like, oh, did you have like AA or whatever? No, I didn't. I never really saw that as an option. Like, I knew I was the problem, and so why would I go talk to a bunch of other people that also have that problem? Like, the problem is with me and this thing. Why do I need you guys? I didn't really feel like I needed that. I feel like I needed a purpose, goals, self-improvement, and personal development. And so what I did is exactly that. And I kept on like changing my environment to align better with my higher self and what I wanted. And then as I created a better reality, then I stopped wanting to escape it, because now I had a game that I could play that I could actually win. I had like things that I started to build that I was proud of having in my life. And then I started having people in my life that were like-minded with me, that vibed with me, which started to attract more and more and more people, places, things, circumstances, events that were in alignment with the reality that I wanted. And so then it became like super incredibly not only painful, but like unacceptable at another level to ever want to escape something this magical. And now I've built something so incredibly amazing in my life, and I'm not even at anything close to like what I want and what I envision for my life. But now, like, the dopamine fucking rushes that I get from doing the things that are difficult and committing to a program and making myself better and working on personal development and doing all of these things that are constructive makes me so happy and makes me so fulfilled that, like, it would be absolutely absurd in my mind now to ever sit down and have a drink. Like, people tell me,
well, it just tastes like juice.
What kind of juice do you drink, you fucking weirdo? That's so weird. It doesn't taste good, okay? It doesn't matter what you're drinking. It doesn't taste good. And it doesn't make me a better person. So I don't see why I need that in my life. Like, it contributes to absolutely none of my goals. And, like, me doing what I do on a regular basis makes me so happy that I see this as just, like, cheap stuff. Like, imagine you are used to organic, fresh food that tastes really good, like authentic cuisine and just like amazing, amazing food. And then someone like passes you a McDonald's burger, and then you look at like the patty and you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, I cannot accept this level of bullshit in my life. Like, what? I want like a AAA grade steak. Like, don't even fucking come at me with this fucking foreign stupid patty that doesn't even look like meat. It looks like bullshit. I'm not gonna accept this in my life when I know that I have this stuff. And it became the same with like my activities in my program and how I spend my time and where I choose to spend my energy. Like, spending my energy on things that are so high value and constructive and that make me feel good to my core. And when I sit down at the end of the day, I have peace without having to distract myself, without having to use vices and drugs and drink and all of this stuff. Like, that to me is so much more valuable than any fucking cheap thing. Like, doing drugs and drinking. That just, it makes no sense to me. I don't know how to explain this, guys. I'm just trying to say, if you think that your trip that you get off of those fucking pills or smoking whatever, you think that that trip is good, you have never tried the trip that you get when you actually do the right thing. That sends me on the biggest trip. Like, I never fucking fixed the actual problem that is within me, that I have a highly addictive personality. I never fixed that. I just realized, hey, maybe if you just stopped doing drugs and started working as much as you do drugs, you would hit every financial goal that you have. And you'd be able to create the lifestyle that you want for yourself. And you'd be able to build like you 10.0. And so I was like, you know what? It's true. Like, that trip is such a cheap trip. I don't even want it. It's like fucking eyelashes from the dollar store. Like, bitch, get out of my way. Don't even talk to me. Don't even come at me with your dollar store eyelashes. I don't even want to see you. I don't even want to talk to you. You're just a cheap hoe. You're just a cheap hoe. Like, I think that the biggest thing that I learned, and this might sound terrible, but I don't care. If it sounds terrible to you, you've got some learning to do. Some things are down here, and I am up here. That's just how it works. And you have got to learn to fucking decipher what is down here and where you are. Because if you do not fucking, like, elevate your standards, you are always going to be having stupid bullshit problems that you are worth more than. And I realize that there's people, places, things, circumstances, and events that they just vibe so low, I don't even want anything to do with it. You are never going to see me at a McDonald's. Ever. You are never going to see me at a Tim Hortons. Ever. It just vibes lower than your girl. Catch me at Starbucks. Catch me where they serve amazing steak. That's where you're going to find me. You're going to find me at the gym. You know, building things and increasing my value over time.